Okay. Hello. I hope you're doing well. As I'm recording, it's still Mother's Day, and I honestly don't really care about certain holidays like that. But in case you wanted to hear it, Happy Mother's Day. The reason why I'm making this video is basically to be a reminder that if you're a generous person, you have to be mindful of how you give out your energy. Because some people will look at that, some people will see that and not be able to genuinely be appreciative. Like, some people will take advantage of your kindness, of your generosity, and it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be generous. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't want to be helpful, but like, just be mindful of that so as to not be used. You know what I mean? And what prompted this was how I used to be homeless, and when I was homeless, and even now, I have encountered, and I do encounter, present moment, present tense, homeless people. And I don't know, I try to be a cool cat. I don't know, I try to be nice. And I don't always have it like that monetarily. I think I give off that energy. I think I give off abundance vibes. I think I give off like wealthy man energy. I don't mind that, but I'm not. And so I'm not always being like, oh yeah, I can give you this. But people ask, and you know, I'm not always able to say yes, which in itself is a little bit of guilt that comes with that. But you know, I always try to give something, you know, a little kindness, a little something. And one thing I've noticed is that some people genuinely don't know how to, like, you know, like unfortunately a lot of people will like see that and then kind of expect that of me. And it's like, I don't mind, but it's like, I'm not, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not entitled, or you're not entitled to like have that from me, you know what I mean? And both sides of the coin, like, just be mindful, like, when you have that sort of energy, when you are the type of person to like want to be nice, want to be generous, like, there will be people who take advantage of that. There will be people who try to do everything that they can to continue that, even when it's not feasible for you. So you have to be the one to say, no, I can't really do that right now, you know, because otherwise people will take. And like, I'm not about to sit here and be like, oh, you're a bad person for wanting, or you're a bad person for wanting to receive something, because I do firmly believe in ask and you shall receive. But part of that is also giving if you're able to, you know what I mean? I'm actually remembering that I made a video a few months ago before I went to rehab titled Ask and You Shall Receive. And once again, I do wholeheartedly believe in that. Like, if you ask for something, you should be able to get it. As long as it doesn't disparage someone else, as long as it doesn't put someone else out in the cold, you know, like, why shouldn't you be able to receive it? Especially if you're willing to put in the effort. Like, I feel like that's a step everybody misses, but ask and you shall receive after you're willing to put in the work, after you're willing to put yourself out there. That's also the key. But yeah, why shouldn't someone be able to get it, you know? But once again, on the flip side, as a generous person, you have to be discerning, and you have to know when to say no and when to hold back, you know? Because you can't give from an empty cup. You can't give if you have nothing to give, you know? And I've talked about it before, like the difference between people-pleasing types. Because there's a people pleaser that genuinely just wants to help others. And that's usually not the type of person who self-sacrifices. You know what I mean? But like, and I mean, it can vary. I'm sure there are people who do self-sacrifice and also genuinely want to help others. But a lot of the times, people who self-sacrifice, people who like give too much of themselves, are also the type of people who are subconsciously doing that just because they want to be accepted. because that's part of people please. Like if you are a people pleaser, you're more likely to be accepted. You're more likely to be included in the group because people know that they can take from you. People know that they can ask you for things, you know? But a healthy, balanced person is going to like know when to say no and know when to not give out, you know? So if you know that you're a people pleaser, if you know that you're an overgiver, do yourself a favor and learn how to say no. Like, even if you feel guilty about it, like, you deserve to be able to say no every once in a while, you know? And people will try to guilt trip you, people will try to gaslight you, people will try to do all sorts of manipulative tactics. But once again, you have every right to say no in any situation, you know? And also, a little thought exercise. If you are the type of person who doesn't like to say no to people, consider why that is. Consider what your motivations are for saying yes. Because, like, I don't know, and, like, this is a deep truth. Not everyone is going to be able to meet this where it is, so it's okay if you don't really want to do this thought exercise, but really just think about that. Think about why you're saying yes to everything, why you have such a hard time saying no, because if you were to really boil it down, I guarantee you, like, you would come to the conclusion that you're only saying yes because you don't want this person to abandon you, you know, and that sucks. That is so sad, because, and I was talking about this on live today, like, it is really toxic that we believe that we have to earn love, that we have to earn care from other people. And I was basically saying that, like, if you have that mentality that you have to work to be loved, that you have to work to have your keep, then it's very likely that you are also the type of person who inherently is worthy of love, because you're willing to put in the effort, you're willing to put in the work. Meanwhile, there are people in the world who try to do as little as possible and get as much out as they can. And I think in relationships, this is the most, like, nasty tactic. Like, thinking that you can put very little into someone and get as much out. Like, it's very backwards to me. And, like, I like to believe that everyone is deserving of love, everyone is worthy of good things. But if there was a hierarchy, if anyone deserved it more or less, I definitely think that the people who are willing to put in the work are more valuable, or more worthy of those good things, you know? Not the people who, like, breadcrumb and, like, gaslight and, like, you know, and try to force situations. Like, once again, if there was a hierarchy, if there was, like, some sort of, like, better than or less than, I think that would kind of be how that goes. Like, if you feel like you need to do X, Y, and Z, if you feel like you have to be a certain type of way to be loved, I'm telling you, you're one of the hardest working motherfuckers in this planet, you know what I mean? So yeah, moral of this video, it's okay to say no. It's okay to prioritize your own happiness. And just the same, you don't necessarily need to do anything to be liked. Like, yes, realistically in the society, you do have to do things to be liked. But at the same time, you shouldn't have to jump through hoops. You shouldn't have to set yourself on fire just to be seen. So, like, do what you will with this information. Do what you will with this reminder. I hope this has been useful. Make sure to subscribe if it has been. And have a nice rest of your day. Bye.